Hi everybody, Sue here from Mystic Matters. I hope you all had a pleasant Christmas if you celebrate it, and here's to a good 2022. I thought that I would do a reading for the year ahead to see what the cards unearth. I'm going to do them kind of 4 sets of 3 cards. So it's 3 cards for January, February, March, then March and April, May, June, July, August, September, and then October, November, December. So, okay, so I'm going to start off and see what the cards come up with. All right, so the first 3 months, second, third, and last 3 months of the year. And I'm also going to take 1 extra card, and that's for luck throughout the year. What energy will be lucky for us? All right, so we're looking here January, February, March, so the first 3 months of the year. We're starting off here with a sense of feeling very proud of ourselves. We pat ourselves on the back and say we've done well. So if you don't have that feeling, look for something that you know that you've done well over this past year or so. It could be volunteering at a food bank, or kind of just helping by babysitting, or any little thing that you know that you've made a difference in someone else's life, because it's so easy to overlook the good things we do when we get overwhelmed with all the stuff that's happening around us. So find something that we are proud about. Maybe it's kind of doing some course of study, or doing very well in some area. So look for what you're proud of that you've done and focus on that, because then you put that energy out of more things that you can find to be proud of. Within the first 3 months, there's a feeling of kind of enthusiasm, excitement. You know your road, really much more enthusiasm about the way forward. So there just seems to be an injection of excitement here. The Sun card is major arcana, so really people will start to get the energy going for the first 3 months. However, there is also it's balanced out by another major arcana card, the Strength card, as a bit of a battle between ego and emotions. So it's important that we don't get into battles, we don't get into fights with people, and look at things for another angle, because sometimes when we're very focused on this way forward, we know where we want to go, we can kind of ride roughshod over other people and what they want and what they need. So try to keep away from these kind of emotionally charged situations. If you've got a goal, if there's something you want to do, imagine it like a mountain, and you can look at one side of the mountain, there's a sheer face, and you look up and you think, oh, how the hell am I going to get up there? But if you look at it from another angle, if you go around the other side of the mountain, it could be a nice, gentle slope up to the top from that angle. So anything that seems unsurmountable, rather than getting all emotional and battling with people about it, look at it from another angle and say, okay, this is a way forward, but maybe I just need to go look at it from another aspect, and it will be easier, and there won't be so much drama about it all, because the Strength card can definitely bring drama, and that always delays us on the path. So it's all this feeling proud of ourselves, we know where we're going, and then drama descends. So it's important not to get tied up with that. So those are the first 3 months. All right, now we're looking at April, May, and June, second quarter. What's important here is not to get in our own way. This is a card of getting stubborn, saying, no, it was good enough for my father, it's good enough for me, that kind of attitude. But what we do is when we get stubborn and we won't listen to other people, their opinions, what happens is we block creativity, we block finance. And so we end up kind of stagnant, we're set in one place. So be prepared to be flexible and just go with the flow of things. Don't make up your mind without kind of considering things just because you don't like the package it comes in, or it's unfamiliar. Be open-minded and don't get in your own way, because this is always us getting in our own way. Nobody else does it to us. It's what we do to ourselves. It's also important to keep very positive here. There's still kind of going to be nasties coming out of Pandora's box. The difficulties won't really have left us by then. They're still kind of raging, as it were. But if we can keep hope and faith, keep an eye on those that also came out of that box, and know that everything will be okay. In the end, everything will be okay. But we have got a bit of emotional stuff. Again, going back to the first 3 months, a lot of emotion, a lot of egos, people arguing and fighting with each other. There's still a lot of that going on. All we can do is keep our own environment clear. Know that things will eventually get better. These things too will pass. It's important not to get really tied up with external stuff, which we often don't have much of an influence over. The only thing that we can influence is ourselves. So be proud of ourselves, kind of focus on the good that we can do, the places that we can go, and don't get tied up with all this kind of external emotion, external fighting, or all these big egos that are bouncing off each other all over the place. You know, it's like a bouncy castle out there, people bouncing off the walls to prove they're right or they're wrong or whatever. So don't get tied up with that, because what happens is that the more we listen, the more we kind of fix our opinions. That's when we start digging our heels in, and that's when we stop progressing ourselves, because we then have kind of bought into some ideology or thought form, rather than just kind of going with the flow, keeping our eye on hope and faith. Because if we do that, then somebody up there loves us, and they'll say, okay, they've had enough, let's move things on, let's help them out of this. And it feels very much like the time when the COVID maybe is getting less. Kind of, we're talking about kind of said spring coming up to June here, when it's like, okay, they've had enough, the world has had enough, let's move things on. And so there'll be help coming from spiritual realms, but also kind of people helping people. People are tired. There's still the first 3 months, they're still all ready for fighting and arguing and battling. But by the time June comes, it's like people are exhausted. You can only fight for so long before you get exhausted. You think, I've had enough of this. I can't be bothered anymore. So I'm looking it really waning, coming up to the second quarter. Towards the end of the second quarter, I think the COVID situation looks as though it will be waning, and there won't be so much fear and anger around. All right, going from July, August, and September. The Lover's card. It can mean love relationships, but more generally, it's about making choices and making mature choices, because other people are affected by the choices we make. So there's going to be some kind of choices being made by, I'm not really talking about people who are so say in charge. I'm not talking about choices that are made for us by other people who've currently got the kind of power or seem to have power. It's choices that people individually will be making that will be best for themselves. And so it's more of an independent way of thinking. And we need to make mature choices because other people are affected by the choices we make. We are responsible, and we are caring about the people that are in our lives, our loved ones, our families, our friends. We can't rely on governments or corporations to take care of those people the way we would. So therefore, we need to start thinking in a new way and make choices that are appropriate, so that ourselves and our loved ones can flourish, and not depend on some outside source and whether they feel you're important, we're important or not. So it is about making mature choices, and this is coming, as I said, the third quarter of the year. It feels like kind of COVID, or the main drama around COVID is starting to disperse, and now we can make choices because things have changed in the last couple of years. People have started to do more working from home. People have started to reevaluate their lives and maybe decide they want to go in different directions. There's a lot of things that have been happening over the last couple of years, and however much people talk about going back to normal, normal's different now, and it's not necessarily worse. It's just different. People are becoming a bit more aware. There's been spotlights being put on various areas that we weren't aware of before. Things that that we do now, we wouldn't have dreamt about 3 years ago. So it's changed a lot. So we need to now, if we're coming out of that, start thinking about, do we really want to go back to the way it was a few years ago, or is there more things, other directions we want to go in, and what will be the benefit for myself, the people that I care about. So it's very much about choices. We don't automatically have to go back to the way it was before, especially if the way it was before wasn't working. This card here is about spirituality, and it's about understanding more about people. So there'll be a kind of more of a sensitivity around people, moving forward. And if people are angry, then we don't. It's about not reacting to the anger, but trying to understand where the anger is coming from. So it's more having more compassion, understanding and listening to people who maybe aren't used to being heard, and from that we can build a better, more functional society. but we really do need to look at things more from a spiritual perspective, rather than just plain material and only about the economy and the money and things like that. That's not the way forward. The when we're doing what we love, money comes, one way or another, but we have to, well, we don't have to, but by living in a spiritual way means that we're open to our intuition. Our intuition will guide us to down the roads that will benefit us, to the jobs where we'll be happy, to the people that we can meet who will enhance our lives in some way, and we can enhance their lives. So that's what the spiritual path is. It's not a fluffy thing. It just eases a way to our prosperity, rather than just looking at kind of the money, which can block us off. So more spiritual knowledge will be adhered to. And this is about the Earth Mother. You know, it's nurturing of ourselves and other people. So this is the flavor of the third quarter of this year. It's really about making choices that will benefit everybody that's in our vicinity, looking at things with compassion, understanding if people have issues, have anger or sadness, or a lot of mental health things are being looked at in this area. So we'll be able to support people who've had really a very, very difficult time of it, because coming from a more holistic point of view, and not judging people by how much money they have and things like that, you know, that then we can really get a handle on humanity and build people up. And from that, here we get the Empress, which is the Earth Mother, you know, about nurturing ourselves as well as other people. And it's new projects, new things. So people that have been maybe felt very much on the outside of everything over these past few years will start to feel as though they belong to something again. There'll be a coming together. There'll be a nurturing. There'll be a feeling of feeling a bit more safe. So that's something to look forward to. It's kind of a nice few months. And coming up to the end of the year, so we're October, November, December, we're starting here with the death card. Now, death isn't physical death. It's about the opportunity of a new way of life if we can let go of the old. So it's letting go of the, I suppose, pre-COVID years, and looking at what we can build now. People's attitudes will be starting to change. I'm talking about individuals, not necessarily heads of governments and things like that. Their attitudes might not, possibly won't change, but if the population changes, then we will pick different leaders if they're not in alignment with the common good. Because people in general, they want to let go of the old, they want to embrace the new, they want a new way of life. And that is really very, death card's a major arcana card again. We want a new way of life, and we want to let go of the old things, the things and the people that don't serve us, that only serve themselves. So this is what's coming up the end of the year. And when we start to go in that direction, there's a feeling of peace and tranquility, feeling our dreams are about to come to fruition, and that we know where our heart lies. So it really feels like the second half of this year is all about people taking stock, people deciding what they want, not what they're being told to do, and kind of moving forward, understanding with compassion. If what you're being told to do resonates, that's fair. That's fair enough, because there you're not being forced into situations. But this is about people making their own decisions about what to do with their own lives, their own bodies, things like that. But the end of the year is peace, tranquility, feeling our dreams are about to come to fruition, and it will be time to lighten up, to have some fun, to have a party, go to cinema, and this feels like a lot more freedom that's coming up come the last 3 months of 2022. So my feeling here is the first 6 months will still be a bit tricky, and we will really need to just focus on ourselves and our own environments, and not get caught up with everything that's going on outside of us, because that in that way we get ourselves blocked. We can't move forward freely. But the last half feels a lot more free, with people making kind of informed decisions about what they want to keep, what they want to let go of, and being very nurturing to people who've had a hard time of it, who need just a leg up, and so they can embrace the new themselves. Our good luck for this coming year is walking away from the things that no longer serve us. That can be our belief systems, it can be jobs, it can be people, it can be kind of systems that govern us. But walking away, saying, I've had enough of this, I need to reorientate myself on an inner level as well as on a financial level. I need to walk away from the things that don't nurture me, the things that are holding me back, or the people that are holding me back, or the belief systems that no longer are valid. Don't let ego get in our way and say, well, I've said this for such a long time that I'm allied with that, and I'll lose face if I say I was wrong. This is about a clean slate. Start the new year, say, okay, I'm going to look at everything that I believe. I want to look at all the people that are in my vicinity. Are they supporting me, or are they holding me back? Are they manipulating me, or are they pushing me to do better? Look at everything in our life. We need to look at everything in our lives and make a conscious decision about moving forward, unencumbered by the things that are dead and gone. They're over. So not to hold on. Many years ago, I lived in Portugal, and I was on a shamanic vision quest, and we all went to different areas. We were alone in this area. We couldn't see anybody else. It was very rocky. We didn't see other people around us. It was ultimately like we were on our own. And I sat there and I observed a bee, and this bee was flying around from one flower to another flower. And after I was watching, I realized that bee never landed on a dead flower. But what do we do as humans? We hold on to dead flowers for grim death. We kind of try to bring them alive again. This can be to do with relationships. It can be to do with situations that aren't working for us. We try to hold on, and we won't admit that it's dead. It's got no purpose for us. It can't nourish us moving forward. So on a final note, regarding this, our luck for the year 2022, look at what is a dead flower in your life, what no longer nurtures you, and go and take that dead flower and wish it well, thank it for its service for when it was alive, but recognize it's no longer alive. And now life is for living and we have to move forward. But and that's my final word for the year 2022. So wishing everybody a very happy new year. And I do hope that you have a good 2022. Okay, take care. Bye.